Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in. It's kind of like, when Trump was telling everybody he was going to come after the undocumented people in this country that were working hard and deport them, that they would kind of move to a state they felt safe in. And apparently, Nebraska wasn't one of them. They packed up their stuff and they headed on out to a state that would welcome them with open arms. So now you're going bankrupt. And as somebody that lives in a blue state, I could give a shit less. Boo-hoo. Oh, and I can't wait for the hated comments. I can't wait for it. You voted for this. You voted for this. And now you're getting it. So why are you mad at us? We didn't vote for this. Nope. We voted completely against this. You voted for this. I better not get one BS comment. Not one. Not one. Oh, how mean you are. The stink. You're so mean. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not mean. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You wanted this. You voted for it. You made your bed. Now lay in it. Have a day.
Hey, Nebraska, is this you? Come on up to the front of the classroom. I have some information for you.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So I know that when you elected Donald Trump, you decided to put all of your apprehensions aside and elect a person who was clear about his intentions. He was going to get rid of undocumented immigrants, which would cause your primary industry, the agriculture industry, to go down. Then he decided to do away with the farm subsidies, basically welfare, that would just annihilate farmers in Nebraska. But wait, there's more. Those two things are just the tip of the iceberg. I was told from a well-placed source that you guys are considering bankruptcy in the not-so-distant future. They said 6 months or so. So if you combine all of that bad news with these people deciding to vote against you who desperately need health care, they are and will and have voted for a framework of a budget that would basically annihilate Medicaid in your state. Let me give you a secret. I don't know if you know this, but over 341,000 residents in Nebraska are on Medicaid. That represents $3.7 billion of revenue, of money, of spending that goes to the state of Nebraska for health care. And this is not just health care, just ad nauseum. This is health care that goes to take care of patients and then also goes to fund hospitals in a rural state, hospitals that are desperately needed. Now, this is the kicker. Of that $3 billion or so that goes into the state, the federal government picks up 69%. In essence, only 30% of that money you have to contribute. But the problem is, since you're going bankrupt and all, you're not going to be able to contribute that. You have come into the zone of FAFO. Unfortunately, that map, this map, is going to be your downfall.
In another FAFO moment, America's farmers are suffering under Donald Trump's leadership. In a predictable outcome for anyone who didn't sip the Maga Kool-Aid, America's farmers are struggling, and people who own farms for multiple generations could soon lose them. Let's listen in to what farmers are saying in Arkansas.
We begin tonight with hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
In light of voting for Donald Trump overwhelmingly, they're now asking for a handout. Yes, these farmers want a handout at the federal level, something they objected to when it comes to SNAP and Medicaid. Unfortunately, these farmers failed to realize that in Donald Trump's America First policy, he wasn't going to allow them to sell their crops to China and other countries, which are worth billions of dollars annually to farmers. So all we can say is FAFO, and in the traditional Maga way, it seems like prayer is going to be your best bet.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
Tots and pears. I hope they're answered.
Nebraska, it seems that you should always be grateful for what you have. And at this point, y'all wasn't grateful enough because you thought voting against your interests was better for you. Now, Nebraska's about to go broke. They say Nebraska's going to go broke in about 5 months. They'll be filing for bankruptcy. The whole entire freaking state, not just one farm. All of them, whole state. Because Nebraska is a cattle ranch state. You know, they got corn and all that stuff. But all the farmers are going broke and about to lose their farms. You want to know why? I bet you can guess why. But see, this is what voting against your interests gets you. Now, how long did Trump say, if I'm elected, I'm deporting everybody? He's been saying it for 2 years. But yet and still, the Nebraska farmers who own all these cattle farms and corn and all soybean, all this farmland, 95% of their workers are undocumented workers because they can get the good labor for a cheaper price. Being that Trump had already stopped all the free money going to the farmers, the farmers decided, we gonna vote with Trump. We gonna vote with Trump. Now, they ain't got no workers because either the workers have been deported or they not showing up. So all of these farmers are going broke and about to lose their farm. My question is, when you voted for Trump in 2016 and all those farmers lost their farm, did you think it wasn't going to happen again? When he told you over and over and over again that if he's elected, he's going to deport everybody, documented, undocumented. If you look to be Mexican, you got to get out of here. So, Nebraska, you decided we going to rock with our boy. Fuck them farms. We don't need them farms. Because Kamala and Biden saved your asses one time. But Trump told you exactly what he was going to do. And he's done it. Now, all of y'all up there crying and making videos and talking about how stupid are we? You stupid as hell. Because you voted against yourself. You are that racist. You have that much hate for another race of people that you voted against your own well-being, knowing that these people work for you. They come to work every day. But you know who ain't coming to work on your farm? Them other white people that ain't got no job, that's sitting at home, getting that check. They ain't coming out. So now what you gonna do? You can't save yourself because you doomed yourself when you voted for Trump. See, this is what racism and hatred does for you. You hated Mexicans that much that you are about to lose your livelihood, your farm, your life, your home, your house, your land, everything. Simply for hate, racism. There's no other way to put it. You did that to yourself. Now live with it, because we out of here.
Hi guys, I'm Bimboy. Welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I hope you are doing fine. And guys, in today's clip, I really want you to watch this combination of clips whereby Nebraska farmers that really came out in large number and they're really complaining of how they're really going bankrupt, of how they're losing their farms. And funny things, they're the ones who voted for this. They're the ones who voted for this new administration. I want you to continue watching this clip to see how a lot of people that really came out and reacted to this, of these people, how they're really complaining of how they're really losing their farm. Thank you so much for your time.
There's a little bit of good news coming out of Nebraska. I mean, if you could call it good news. They have identified a way to cut their budget shortfall pretty much in half. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to the story that's happening in Nebraska, there's a lot of panic that the state is going to go bankrupt. And there's some saying it will happen in just the matter of a couple of months because they have a $400 million budget shortfall. There's a lot of different reasons for it. Let me tell you what they are. But a lot of it very much is self-inflicted wounds. And now they're kind of dancing around going, oh my God, what did we do? Nebraska is experiencing right now at a state level what we're all about to face at a federal level. So I think it's important to pay attention there because this is what happens when you give giveaways and subsidies and tax breaks to the wealthy, and you do all of these things that in the moment feel right because they get you votes and they get you popularity and they get you all this shit. And then when you have to pay the bills, you realized you've fucked yourself. And that's exactly what Nebraska has done. I think the number one reason that Nebraskans should be concerned is that they've lost their immigrant labor. Nebraska was one of those states that had there's a lot of farming, a lot of agriculture type businesses, and they use a lot of immigrant labor. Whether they're documented or not, does not matter. There were people who were not native Nebraskans who had moved there and were working there. Nebraskans, like a bunch of other states, voted for Trump, which told their immigrant population, we're not welcome here. Instead of waiting for the jackboot stormtroopers from ICE to come knock on their doors, the immigrants pieced out. We're gonna go someplace where people will use our labor and will like us and will treat us with a little bit of dignity. So they probably hustled their asses to Colorado or California or someplace else where they could get work and they could be safer. So rumor has it that this was 60% of their labor force. And when you lose that much of your labor force, you've got no one to pick your wheat, you got no one to slaughter your cows, you're in big fucking trouble. So that's the start of it. They're not making as much revenue. They're not supplying as much food into the food chain, which, by the way, screws all of us. Our food supply is going to be fucked if this happens. So let's just say that. But they also did a lot of other things, right? They put in corporate tax breaks and they did all this other stuff. Now suddenly they don't have a pot to piss in. Their budget committee has gone back to work and they're trying to find places where they can find this money. And they've identified 165 million more in revenue that they can bring in. 65 million of it is from, well, let's just go ahead and raise the taxes on the corporations. Amazing how quickly the money pours in if you make everybody pay their fair share. But I digress. Anyway, they've also done some other things, cut some extra funding. They cut a major portion of funding to the University of Nebraska Medical Center, which is quite frightening for the people who work there and a lot of the research they're doing. Probably have to make a total separate video about that because university hospitals all across the nation are getting crushed right now because they're losing a lot of their funding. But one thing they've also decided to do was to take the cash out of their slush fund. Every state kind of has this emergency fund. And I get that they think, okay, this is an emergency. We got to use the slush fund. So they're putting their slush fund toward their budget deficit. I understand that. But what's happening is, in case you don't know, Nebraska is one of those, let's use the word socialist states, meaning they are one of those red states that gets more from the federal government than they put in. Okay, they get a ton of subsidies for their farmers. They get a ton of stuff. And sadly, there's a lot of people in Nebraska who are poor or even poverty level citizens. And they need government funding. They need things like Medicaid and SNAP benefits and those types of things. Well, when you've got the Doge dickheads going, nope, nope, cut it all off. We don't give a fuck who starves. We don't care about poor people. We don't care about children. Cut it all off. What's happening is the federal government will start giving less to Nebraska. And Nebraska's going to be expected to pull herself up by her bootstraps. Not if they've raided their slush fund. If they don't have any money left in their slush fund, they can't help their hungry and poor citizens. So again, it's all self-inflicted wounds because this is how they voted, and they supported an administration that was going to slash. They supported an administration that said, no more brown people. They did this to themselves, and it's very hard to feel sorry for them, right? There's a lot of people on here that are like, bye-bye. But it's a major hit to our food supply. I took some notes, let me just tell you. They are the third largest producer of corn. They're a big producer of soybeans. They are top 15 producer of wheat. And I don't know if you knew this, but Nebraska, number one in popcorn. They're the number one producer of popcorn. We stand to risk to lose our popcorn, people. But that's not even what I want to talk about. They are one of the top producers of beef. If you've not, I mean, there are some exceptional cattle ranchers in Nebraska, and they provide a huge portion of America's high quality beef, but also pork, poultry, and wait for it, eggs. You think they're expensive now? You shut down the state of Nebraska, that's a big hit to the egg industry. Now, the what would be the cherry on the top of the fuck around and find out Sunday is that 43 days before the last election, Nebraska's state house made a Hail Mary to try to change their electoral college process. If you're not familiar, Nebraska has 5 electoral votes, but it's not a winner take all. 3 of the electoral college votes go to, however, those 3 congressional districts. So if 2 of those districts go blue, that's two electoral college to the Democrats and 1 to the Republicans. And then the other 2 are given to the person who wins, the party that wins the overall state. So if the Republicans win the total state, they would get that. So last year, the way it stood to be was that Donald Trump would probably get 4 electoral votes. Kamala Harris would get 1. 4 out of 5 isn't quite enough when you're a Trump-loving, conservative, middle America white man who happens to be in the Nebraska State House. They didn't even want the black lady to get even 1 vote. Oh, no. They tried to change 43 days before the election. They tried to change their electoral college process to a winner take all. And luckily it didn't pass. There was somebody in the state house that said, this is dumb, we're not doing it. So it was dead in the water. But my point being is that this state is led and probably is populated by people who were die-hard, rabid Trump supporters. People who will throw a Hail Mary at the last fucking minute because they wanted him to have an even bigger win. And now they're crying on TikTok because they might go bankrupt. If you're a blue dot in Nebraska, hang in there, maybe pack your bags, maybe go to Colorado. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, and I'm so sad it's gonna fuck our food supply for a very long time. But you fuck around and you find out.
I saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are going to go bankrupt now. We are going to go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported, and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
Oh boy, let's talk about how Trump is screwing the farmers. I have a lot of soybean farmers who are my clients, and this is really bad news. Caleb Ragland, who's the president of the American Soybean Association, he said farmers are heading into a harvest season without a single order from China. 25% of soybean farmers' crops are usually sold to China. The prices of soybeans are down 40% because of what's happening under the Trump administration, and production costs are rising. I'm tying in the Trump administration to this. This Soybean Association president is still speaking up Donald Trump. 500,000 soybean growers in the United States exist and are being severely impacted by this. They're having to now rely on loans to get them through the season. There are 231,000 jobs associated with soybean farming, harvesting, transportation, storage, you name it. And he says the impact on the local rural community that depends on the farmer is going to be severely impacted. South American farmers, soybean farmers, are filling the gap. China is just hop-skipping over the United States, and countries like Brazil have got it completely covered. No wonder Trump is attacking some of these other countries south of us. But then he went on to reiterate that Donald Trump loves farmers and that he supports Trump. And he says that the Trump administration told him to tell the farmers to be patient. I just want to explain what the soybean farmers are looking at. Harvest season is right around the corner. Imagine that there's a machine manufacturer that is on the brink of bankruptcy, and they've got a whopping $50,000 in the bank. And they've got to make a decision. Do we keep hiring people to build this one machine in hopes that we can sell it and make that money back? Do we drain that $50,000 and go into debt, hiring employees, purchasing materials to make it happen, run our facility to make that machine, pay for transportation costs to ship it out in the hopes that we'll have a customer for it? That's what they're facing. They've got to hire H-2A workers, those nasty, nasty brown-skinned people. And I'm being very sarcastic. That's how Maga looks at them. There's truck drivers that haul the soy. There's storage facilities with silos that store them. The farmer pays to have them stored. They're going to tell them we have no room because we're storing 10,000 other farmers' soy products that are not being sold anywhere. Like, this is so fucking devastating. And when I saw that farmer in, I believe, Arkansas, crying, this is a grown-ass man with gray hair. Donald Trump, we love you. We need your help. This is what MAGA doesn't get. Don't leave a seat at the table expecting Donald Trump to come sit down and talk to farmers. He will only sit at the tables that have billionaires and Project 2025 folks. He's only focused on their agenda. And the Project 2025 agenda includes changing the American farming industry that's going to fucking screw every American farmer. He's not going to come and have a seat at your table. Just be patient.
Hi guys, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I'm B-Boy. Remember, if it was for the first time I coming across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Okay guys, in today's clip, all the credit goes to the original creator of the video, and in today's clip is all about how Nebraska's farmers that have really came out in large number, of how they are really crying out for help, of how they're losing their farms, of how they're going bankrupt, and they just want government to intervene in, and they just want the government to bail them out because they have really lost a lot because there's no anyone to pick their farms. Trump tariffs has destroyed everything, and they can't be able to sell their product because we all know the country that were selling, these farmers were selling the product to were China, but Trump tariffs it has really came out, and it has really affected these farmers. Right now they're really crying out for help of how they're losing their farm, but a lot of people that really came out, especially black people, and they have reacted to this, and they're telling them that they really want them but they couldn't love listen. They want them but they voted against their own interest. They voted out of hatred and out of racism. They voted to punish those people who didn't have the same skin color as them. They voted to punish black people because we do remember on these people really cheered for deportation of immigrants. They really cheered it up, but right now we have also seen our S agents that are really deporting a lot of immigrants from America, and these S agents they are really separating families. They are really separating children from their families. They are making people to disappear, and we have all seen how immigrants are really afraid. Those who have remained, those who are lucky have remained to remain in America. They are afraid to drive to these farms because they feel like they can be arrested, detained, and be deported back to their country. And one thing these farmers really didn't use that when they were voting, they thought that this voting will just only affect other people, will just affect other Americans, especially will affect black people. But right now, the table have really turned. It's really affecting everybody that is in America, especially Maga farmers. They thought this new administration, when they vote for it, it will affect other people. It won't affect them. But right now, we've all seen how the cost of living has really risen up. The cost of prices, grocery, food, the price it has really hike up. And if you go to this supermarket or these grocery stores, the same price you bought it, whether you are black or whether you are white, whether you are Latino, you just buy this thing with the same price. And this really shows that, or this just kind of to tell these people that racism is so expensive, because if they could not vote out of racism and out of hatred, America could be greater or better once again. But they choose to vote against their own interests. They choose to vote to punish black people. They choose to vote to punish those people who didn't have the same skin color as them. And right now they're going through a lot, and they're seeing the consequences of maybe voting for this new administration. And one thing they just have to know, or just have to learn, is that Trump is doing what he promised when he was doing his election, and when he was doing his campaign. What his agendas was to deport people, to do what he really wanted to do, and Trump is just doing what he promises people will do. These people really thought that maybe they will be spared, but we have all seen that being affected, all of them. And these people, when President Donald Trump was the last time President Donald Trump was president, almost like 1,000 farmers really lost their farms. Also, Trump tariffs really affected other countries, especially China, Brazil, Canada, and they were in the same situation, but they were being able to convince to put the same person in the office. And someone really came out and said that if they could be given another chance, they could also vote for President Donald Trump. But these people, the one mistake they did, they couldn't listen to the warning of black people. And another mistake they did is voting against their own interest and voting out of hatred and racism. This is the reason why they're still suffering. They just thought that if they vote for this new administration, they will punish other Americans, they will punish other races, they will punish other people that are living in America, but not them. But right now, you have all seen how it's affecting everybody. And one thing I just want you to let you know, this video is just for educational purpose. We don't have anything to harm other people. We are just here to learn, because when a person does a bad thing, they should just admit. And right now we have all seen how a lot of Maga farmers that really come out, and they are really admitting they did a mistake, and they are really apologizing to other peoples, to black people, to forgive them, because they didn't know it will went this way. So guys, we really hope things could be better. America could be better once again, because right now a lot of people that are really saying that American dream is normal, but we really hope and we are praying to God things will be better. As black people really say that whenever they are being feel like they're being associated from other people, they just go and pray to their God, and their strong faith, it has is one thing that it has been able to be keeping them moving on. So guys, We're just here to learn. And if it was for the first time I come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your time. May God bless whenever you are. One love.